I don't know what we expected.
You are Locked On Wild POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
6-1 loss for the Minnesota Wilds to the Colorado Avalanche tonight. No Brock Faber, no Jonas Brodin, no Jared Spurgeon, no Kirill Kaprizov, no Jakub Lauko. Philip Gustafson's clearly hurt. Marc Andre Fleury was ill against a Colorado Avalanche team that's basically fully healthy. I don't know what you take away from a game like this against a team that is absolutely rolling. And it's hit me with your hottest takes for tonight's game. Who should be fired? Who should be traded? Because frankly, there's really nothing worth breaking down in this game. So I think it's just at the point that somebody's got to get booted off the roster. Somebody's got to get sent down. Somebody's got to get traded. Somebody's got to get fired. Some team's got to get moved to another location. I don't know. I have flushed. Thankful that I had another game tonight, so I didn't have to watch any part of this, because there's just no part of it that I don't. You don't take even a thing from this game. You just can't. And if you expected that the outcome was going to be different, the only way that it was going to be a different game was if Philip Gustafson pitched a shutout. And guess what? Philip Gustafson is battling something right now, so that wasn't going to happen. God, I don't even want to look at the box score. Well, Matt Boldy was a -4. Ryan Hartman a -3. Marco Rossi a -3. Matt Zuccarello a -3. Jake Middleton a -4. John Merrill a -2. Declan Chisholm a -2. Joel Eriksson Ek a -2. So I guess if I was coach, I'd bench all those guys for the next game. Oh, wait, you can't. Because the Wild literally cannot field a team right now. They can't field a team with a salary cap situation and the players that are just sitting on the bench. Like, if anybody's the idiot, it's me, because I keep saying that this team is not going to let these injuries ruin their season. So if anybody's the idiot, it's me. I need to just stop saying things like that, because I'm clearly a jinx. And so I'm going to put this out into the world in hopes that it does what I hope it's going to do. Injuries are going to single-handedly tank this season for the Minnesota Wild. Like, pack it up, it's over. I'm hoping that reverse jinx will do the job, because my God, the amount of man games lost for the Minnesota Wild this year, I don't even know if they track that. Let's just see here. Games lost to injury. I don't think they even track. No, StatMuse, that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get what I'm looking for here. But the Minnesota Wild have to be if they're not at the top of the list, I pity the team that is above them. like, what is happening? I really don't know. Like, I don't even know how to react to what happened tonight because of so many pieces out of the lineup. But yeah, let's just go right back to ripping Matt Boldy. Thanks to Wild Forwards for showing up tonight, Mr. Boldy a -4. Yeah, it was all Matt Boldy's fault. Matt Boldy was the single reason that the Minnesota Wild lost tonight. Team didn't play well. Team would have had to have played their absolute best game of the season in order to win tonight, and they didn't. Did they play particularly well? No. But I'm not gonna dive off the cliff. I feel like people were just looking for a reason to do so, if I'm being honest. I feel like people were just looking for a reason to jump in a game that, with the fact that the team was frantically scrambling to try to even figure out a backup goalie tonight. But hey, if you were looking for an out, I'm not gonna fault anybody. We all have lives outside of the NHL, and if anybody was looking for an opportunity to just hop in the life raft, more power to you. If you look at the trainers, it's been the last 2 seasons of injury after injury. Are the trainers preparing these guys properly for heavy action? I really don't know, because so many of these injuries are okay, let's go back. Let's go back to what has happened with injuries lately. Jonas Brodin blocks the shot off of his ankle, and so he's out. That is not like, that's, I think, just kind of a positioning thing. Like, I'm not going to fault Jonas Brodin for trying to block a shot, but that's not like, none of these injuries, with the exception of Kirill's, are like what you would consider like a trainer related injury. Jake Middleton breaking a finger blocking a shot, like that's a fluky injury. Brock Faber taking an elbow up high, courtesy of Jake Neighbors, that's a fluky kind of an injury. Brodin blocking a shot is a fluky kind of an injury. Like, I don't want to dumb it down too much, but it just feels like it's incredibly dumb luck because of the way that the Wild play, like the all out, trying to win every game. Like, if it was, thank you, Urban, mentioning too that Spurgeon was double slew-footed. It would be one thing if players were continuing to be out of the lineup with, it'd be one thing if there were players like if it was calf, groin, knee, back, like stuff like that you would think that your trainers can rehab. And obviously Gus and Kaprizov have been the most notable injuries of that type. But these are all just like in the wrong place, the wrong time. Matt Zuccarello, friendly fire from Brock Faber, friendly fire injury. That's not what I would categorize as like a trainer's problem. And I get the point, Dougie, that you're making. I really have no idea why this continues to happen. The Wild have to lead the league. Have to. I don't even have to look. Have to lead the league in games lost to injury over the last 2 years. And I bet it's by a substantial margin. But it's not injury prone per se. Yeah, I got you. I knew exactly where you were going with that. But like these, so many of these aren't what you would call like chronic injuries. It's just players get hurt a lot. I don't even know if I'm making that distinction properly. Players on this roster get hurt a lot, but they're not injury prone. I don't know. Maybe I'm not even. I hope people get what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm even making sense, but Jared Spurgeon's injuries last year, that was Ryan or Tyler, whatever his name was. Like sent him crashing into the boards in the preseason. That's not a chronic injury. It's a freakish injury. So I don't know. $37 million worth of players not on the ice. Like at some point, it's one thing to overcome one or two or three players off the ice at once. But there's just a ceiling where you can't what do you do? Yeah, thank you, Dylan. Dylan, this is more the point that I'm trying to make is it's more so just like guy breaks a finger here, guy breaks a shot or has a shot block off of his ankle. Like it's just all of these guys at once. It's not a trainer problem or a personal problem. It's a bad luck problem that is already worse than last year, which was historically bad. As of right now, you want me to read the well, let me go to Puckpedia to $12,500 in cap space. Kirill Kaprizov is on injured reserve. Jakub Lauko is on long-term injured reserve. Now they are progressing, so we're not like end of times. Kaprizov has skated the last couple of days, so he's getting closer. Jared Spurgeon's on injured reserve. Brodin is day-to-day. No idea on Brock Faber. Marc Andre Fleury is sick, not injured. And Philip Gustafsson doesn't look right. Plus, Jesper Wallstedt is hurt in Iowa. And it's just... I tried burning sage last year. Anybody a goat farmer in the comments by chance? No? Well, I'll just have to make a voodoo doll then, I guess, because it's preposterous. It really is. It's just... It's exhausting, really. It is just an insane amount of injuries, which is why the start of the season... Thank you, Luke. Going to Scotland soon. I can sacrifice a goat there. I mean, honestly, like we're getting to that point. Or I don't know what to do about it. The Minnesota Wild's injury page on ESPN is like a half a page long. This is why the start of the season was as important as it was. Banked equity to get through this just pure torture. And still be in position. You're still in second place. You are precisely 2 points behind the Winnipeg Jets right now. 2 points. 3 points ahead of the Stars. Now the Stars have 2 games in hand. But like, I'll say this. The wild card picture, the top 8 is pretty set right now. The Calgary Flames are 1 point behind Vancouver for the second wildcard spot. They have 45 points. The Wild have 11 points on the Calgary Flames. They have 10 points on the Vancouver Canucks right now. You get Kirill back. You get Brodin. You get Spurgeon. You get... Let's count our lucky stars, too, with all of the... a few concession stand workers are on IR, too. Think about how disastrous that double slew foot looked against Jared Spurgeon. And he got good news on the return front. Weathering the storm is, and me not talking it into existence, are going to be the two key things to get this team to continue to move to where they want to go. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about something good tonight from this turd sandwich that was on display at the XL Energy Center. David Jiricek, 16 minutes and 1 second on the ice. He was even in the goals department. He had one shot on goal. He had 3 hits and a takeaway. He had 4 giveaways, but 16 minutes played on the power play, which was that's pretty nice to see. So good debut for Jiricek. That's that. Considering the circumstances, you could hardly ask for more from him. Let's go to the money puck thing here. And joining us from the Avs perspective, the Avs have just as many injuries and have had this many all season. It sucks. So many teams are struggling with injuries right now. Yeah, it's about how you weather them. And if you have a stretch at some point during the season where you play well enough to buy yourself some time. And the Wild did that. Everybody's on injured reserve. Let's see. Oh my God. The Minnesota Wild had a 67.8% on the deserve to win meter on Money Puck tonight. So they must have the Minnesota Wild generated 3.19 expected goals today. Mackenzie Blackwood was 2.19 goals above expected. On the Avs side, oh boy. Okay, so this is a good opportunity to explain this. So moneypuck.com has the Avs for having generated 1.9 expected goals. So what that tells you is that Philip Gustafsson didn't have a great night tonight. He was 4.1 goals below expected. Now, is that all his fault? No. But usually the lower the number, the harder time the opposing offense has at generating chances. And unblocked shot attempts, 42 for the Avs on Philip Gustafsson. 35 low danger attempts, 6 medium, and 1 high danger. 3 medium danger goals against on 6 shot attempts. That's not great. But Gustafsson is, with everybody else, just battling. Just battling it out. Seasons are not won or lost in January, but we cannot get to the Four Nations face-off break quick enough. Please. How long of a break is it even? I'm just pulling up the schedule here. So the Wild will be on break from February 8th to the 22nd of February. They need that pretty badly. Just, I think, for a reset. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games between now and then. And if guys are injured that are on the Four Nations rosters right now, they're not going to play. As much as they would like to, there will be replacements. There will be replacements named, much like the Pro Bowl, except this actually matters. So if these guys, Brodin's one that I worry about. Eck is one I worry about. They'll get the opportunities to fully rest during those instances. But I don't know. With our luck, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. Well, how's everybody's night other than that turd bagel? How's everybody's night going? Do you want to do just a little AMA? I mean, keep the questions coming if you've got them, but like they're literally, besides Juracek, is no redeeming quality for that game whatsoever. Like, you don't burn that film. You tape it to the front of an intercontinental ballistic missile and you fire it into Nevada for a test. That's not even strong enough. Luke is enjoying after school got canceled because of a winter storm in Georgia. So that does make for a good night. Yeah, heard the Vikings game got moved, which is, I mean, it's the right decision. Obviously, kind of stinks for the Rams, but I would rather it be somewhere that is not in the general vicinity of the fires. So it was definitely the right decision to be made. We need an ETA on Brodin and Faber, but we don't know if it's fractures or what, so we don't know what the next move is. Yeah, we're in a holding pattern for NHL-related stuff because last updates, Kirill Kaprizov is progressing, Jakub Lauko is progressing. Brodin, they said, was day-to-day. I think the Faber injury is number 2. Luke, I think it's a concussion because Neighbors went up high and Faber just seemed kind of woozy after that hit. Like his next shift, he was real tentative. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I know they have this in the NHL. I thought they had it in the they have this in the NFL. I thought they had it in the NHL too. Do NHL teams or games have concussion spotters? Because that would explain why he got pulled and was out for the rest of the game. Because if he showed signs of a concussion and they ruled him, Britt is saying yes, they do. Okay, so that would favor that theory, is that concussion spotters saw the hits and said, okay, he's got to get checked out for that. And it turns out he had one. So then he got pulled from the game and now he's got to go through whatever the NHL equivalent of the concussion protocol is what the likely scenario is. I don't have anything to go off of with that. That's just pure speculation. So, I guess the bright side of that is that at least it isn't At least it isn't anything physical. Although concussion in some cases is worse. And then Brodin blocked the shot with his ankle. Anybody's guess with that. He was listed as day-to-day, I guess, but who really knows? And now the goalie situation is anybody's guess. Marc Andre Fleury is sick. He tried to gut it out on the bench. Yeah, Russo's talking about just now, because I would imagine Hines. Okay, all right, we're getting some reaction. Hines says he doesn't know if Brodin, Faber, or Kaprizov will travel. So that's going to be a tall order against both San Jose and Vegas. Evidently, a Golden Knights fan listened to the January schedule preview and took me saying the games on the schedule in January that I am concerned about the most are the Colorado games, as saying that Vegas is not a contender, which is not a thing that I was uttered at any point during that episode. In fact, I do recall saying Vegas is the best team in the league for a reason, and that is going to be an incredibly difficult game to win on the road. Is, I think, verbatim what I said. And that got taken as the Golden Knights are not a contender because I said that I'm keyed in on the Colorado games because it's the first time we've seen Colorado this season. I don't know. You can't make it up. I've had a day today. Let's just see if we get any more from Hines. Marcus Foligno said he's never seen anything like this with the injuries. Says he doesn't want to get in trouble with PETA, but they've got to sacrifice a goat or something. He joked. He said, we can't even get Connor Beaupre up here. Jake Middleton, I was personally dog shit. Still says it was a memorable night for his parents seeing both of their boys play against each other. He just hopes they don't frame the game sheet. Does Lambos play in San Jose? That's a good question. I think probably if he'll go, but I don't know. Like, this is just until this gets ironed out, I don't even know who the Wild are capable of bringing with them from a call-up perspective. I don't know if they can even carry extra players. I will just note, Travis Dermott played 16 minutes, and he was also a net zero. Him and Juracek were the only players that were net zero as of right now, or in this game. So if Dermott ends up playing, that's, I mean, one of the better performances on the team. It's just and Jesper's hurts, and yeah, this is kind of what I was saying all along. Landeskog for the Avs is progressing towards making a run, towards getting back. I mean, Freudian slip. When they get him back, now that they have the goaltending situation figured out, it's not going to shock me in the slightest if Colorado passes Winnipeg. Not in the slightest, because that is going to be a problem for the rest of the league. That's the depth scoring. That's the second layer of scoring that the Avs have been hoping for the last several seasons. If he comes back, they are. So credit to the Avs for taking care of business tonight. Somebody in here, I think maybe was an Avs fan, said Wild gets smoked by the Avs again. Take the trophy tonight if you want it. But I would, if I were the Avs, I would set my sights on Winnipeg as the target, which I'm sure they have, because I really like Jared Bednar as a coach. Really enjoy watching the higher level talent of the Avs play. And if they end up making a run and going deep into the playoffs, that's not going to upset me one bit, because it means then that the Dallas Stars likely will not, or the Winnipeg Jets. What else do we have here? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting tagged in things again by opposing fans. I don't know what's going on. Another good note, the PK was not a sieve tonight. The power play was. Shorthanded goal allowed. It's just too hard to it's just too hard to judge anything right now until some of these guys get back, or until we get a definitive timetable, which, guess what? It's the NHL. We're not going to. We're not going to get it. We're just going to continue to get a day-to-day, week-to-week. It could be worse. We could be 6th in the division like the Iowa Wild. Yeah, there's that. I tried to make a point on Twitter too about Jesper this year, saying if you take away his 2 worst starts, his goals against average is 2.81. And then I had a bunch of people accuse me of cherry picking. So some days you just can't win. And you just pack it up, and you just pack it up and you just play for the next day. And today is certainly one of those days. Any minor league trades you would make right now? That's a good question. Oh, by the way, the New York Islanders are beating the Vegas Golden Knights right now 2-0. So riddle me that. I'll have to think about this on the minor league trade side. I don't dip my toes into the minor league side nearly as much, but I'm sure there would be something. But like this, the roster is just so injured and so gridlocked and so I don't even know. Yeah. Thanks for this. On to the next. Move on. Still impressed with the season. This is an appropriate take. It's gone very kitty-wampical right now, but the first part of the season was not a fluke. The first part of the season was a glimpse at what this team can be when closer to fully healthy. So I still take solace in that. It's just a matter of getting back there, and not the thing that is just infuriating about this is every time a player comes back, somebody else gets hurt. If we could stop a string of that from happening, that would go a long way. Yeah. We all know how good they can be when they're healthy. We just have to ride this out. Is this turning into a lost year for Jesper? I don't think so. He talked about how he has had to kind of battle through just the demons in his own head at the early part of the season. And like I said, you take away the starts in which he gave up 7 and 8 goals, and he's at 2.81 for the season, which is fine. And that's in 13 starts. So that's not like it's taking away 2 of 4. He still has started 13 games beyond that. Jesper at least won in Iowa Wild Fantasy Football. What worries me is play ramps up to almost playoff level after the All-Star break. Yeah, there's that, but I mean, you just gotta hope that you get the key pieces back. They're all key pieces. You just got to hope you get most, if not all of them back by that point and push through to the end. Look, this team, like if it ends up being a team that is still in the number 2 spot in the Central Division, that's fine. I'm not afraid of the road this year. The New York Islanders just scored again. It's 3-0 over the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm not worried about the Wild going on the road this year compared to years past. If they end up as the 3 or if they end up as a wild card, they're capable of winning on the road. It just comes down to, again, if they're healthy for it, that's the big key. If not, it's going to be daunting. It's going to be a large test. Next up is the San Jose Sharks on Saturday. What is today? Is today Thursday? Yeah. Saturday. On the road against the Sharks. The currently, how have they done in their last? The San Jose Sharks have won 3 games in their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They are 3-12 in their last 15 games. Of the current possible opponents in the playoffs, who would you take in a series right now? Honestly, so let's say things honestly, I would be fine with the Stars. I'm not super I would be perturbed at having to play the Jets, but it's been said in the comment section multiple times here tonight. After the Jets started 15-1, they're 500 cents. And I just here's the point I want to make about this team right now. This is a Wild team that has faced a multiple game losing streak once this year. I think that where Dean Evison failed is I think John Hines is more capable of making adjustments if you were to lose a game in a playoff series, especially in game. I don't think you're going to get as much of we just are going to keep ramming our heads into the wall to try to make our formula win. I think Hines is going to be much better equipped to make changes during games. And I don't think in the playoffs, especially, I don't think he's going to be as married to that formula as Dean was. Dean's whole thing the entire season and the entire playoffs was, this is the style that got us here. This is going to be the style that leads us to winning, which is great to get to the playoffs. But you have to be willing to just find that extra, because guess what? Teams have a whole season's worth of film on you. And if you just stick to your guns, you're not gonna. What happened? What happened in both series? St. Louis and Dallas. Both teams made adjustments to what the Minnesota Wild were doing, and the Minnesota Wild themselves did not adjust. We'll see. But I think this team is better equipped for road playoff games than previous iterations have ever been. Got to get there first, though. And it's being brought to my attention that the Blue Jackets are currently in a wild card spot right now. That Eastern Conference wild card playoff chase is it's on crack. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams right now that are currently within 4 points of the second wild card spot. And guess what? One of them is the New York Rangers, who have been very dead for a lot of the season. Very dead. Very, very dead. And it's probably going to be a team that's under 500 that wins that wild card spot. The Montreal Canadiens, no, that's not the right. The Pittsburgh Penguins are in a dead heat with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And guess what? The Penguins are 18-25 right now. I know they're 18-7-8, but those are losses. So I just say 18-25. The Columbus Blue Jackets are 19-23. The Boston Bruins are 20-24. The New York Islanders, who are 15-25, are 7 points out. It is the yuck. It is the big yuck in the Eastern Conference. I am so glad that the Western Conference playoff picture is pretty solidified at this point. I mean, Calgary, St. Louis to an extent, and Utah, those are about the only few that are going to actually compete, because guess what? Anaheim is not going for the postseason this year. Nashville is 6 points behind Anaheim. San Jose is not in a playoff spot. Chicago is not in a playoff spot. Seattle is behind Anaheim. Time to bring Jesper up. I think we need to go 3 goalies, burn out on Gus. Unfortunately, Jesper is currently hurt. And because of this roster mess, the Wild can't afford anybody other than Juracek, because he was an emergency call up for Brock Faber. I can't keep track. It's the when the league does the injury reports, they do like the little press release, and it's like a paragraph. The Minnesota Wild's injury report is legitimately 2 pages long. So unfortunately, they can't afford to call Jesper up, but I think if Fleury gets, I think when Fleury gets this illness out of his system, he'll definitely be starting the next game that he's available, because I think Gus needs a little breather if he's not battling injury, which I think he very much is. Take a shot every time a Minnesota player is put on injured reserve. I do not want to die of alcohol poisoning, Luke. So it's a fun thought, but I don't want to turn my liver into crisis. And then at the AHL level, Sammy Walker and Adam Rask have also been hurt. What is going on? What is happening with this team? What is happening with this organization? Let's see, one fun one. Okay. This is a hobby that I am going to try to take up, because they say when you get to be just short of your 40s that you either have to get really, really into Civil War history or you got to start smoking meats. So if anybody has any smoker recommendations, I believe on my patio, because there are people that live above me, I think I can have an electric smoker. But if anybody has any recommendations for a smoker, that is something that I'm going to really start to get into in 2025, which is kind of fun. Fun way to pass the time with, elite levels of smoked meats. A big one. Well, then I'll keep an eye out and I'll report back when I zero in on one. Ideally, I would love to get one that has a phone app so that I can just sit here and say, no, up the temperature to whatever temperature it should be. Boy, I'm a real comedian here. Any other question? Okay, this is what I was looking for. Britt's got me. Big green egg. All right. I like that. That's probably what I'll start looking into in the midst of Camp Chef's been good. I have a Pit Boss decked out with extra shelves, smoke tunes. I am set up to smoke cheese too. Okay. A little smoked Gouda action. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, I'm gonna make this happen here over the next couple of months. While I wait for the newest injury report to print off my printer. If I started printing the newest injury report for the Minnesota Wild right now, it would take 3 weeks for it to finish. 3 weeks. So one of the players on the FPHL team for my town got arrested. He also leads the team in penalty minutes. He didn't try to take off his skate and try to stab somebody, did he? Or wait, that was Happy Gilmore. My fault. Thank you for the Rex, Bob. I look forward to receiving those via email. Let's finish with the. Can we call somebody up from the Frost? We can certainly try. I am going to suit up. for the Wild. I have 2 smokers. Some people ask me how long certain meats take to smoke, and I answer in alcohol terms. These ribs take about a half a bottle of Crown. Okay. Well, thankfully, it's like right out my back patio. So I don't have to go far. I don't have to go far to keep an eye on it, but I don't know. Well, I guess it could. No, I'm not going to finish that sentence because, again, I maintain that I am a curse on this team by making these statements such as that this team is not going to be undone by particular things. I'm not going to make those statements anymore because it's very clearly a pain right now. Need to get you an Athens Rock Lobsters jersey. Okay. I'm a fan of the Rock Lobster. Let me know. All right. I'm going to go to bed because this was as flushable of a game as there is. And we are at the mercy of the injury report right now. So everybody just breathe. Enjoy your weekend. I think what we'll do is probably a postcast after the San Jose game. But I think what Alex and I are going to do is just record after the Vegas game. And we'll have an episode to recap it. I can't do both, though. I can't postcast and then record with Alex after the game is done. It's got to be one or the other. And I have games all of next week. So we're gonna just have to do that for Sunday. But I think then in that case we'll do a postcast on Saturday night against the San Jose Sharks, and hopefully it won't be such an injury sandwich like tonight was. Yeah, it's just it's just a bump in the road, several bumps. You hit a deer, the car's not totaled, but the car's not in good shape. So let's just buffer that out and let's just move on to the next one. All right, everybody, I got to go to bed. This is of all the Minnesota games, of all the Minnesota Wild games in their history, this was certainly one of them. And that is what I will leave you with. But we'll have an episode for you coming out after lunch tomorrow. So hopefully we'll have, and it might even be a little later in the afternoon just to see if we get any update on anybody in the history of anybody. I mean, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if we see Mikko Koivu suit up and skate out to center ice for the opening faceoff against the San Jose Sharks. I guess we'll see. Make sure to pop that like button before you head out for the night, or another Minnesota Wild player will get hurt. You don't want that on your conscience, do you? So hit that like button before you head out. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hopping in here and just maneuvering through the process. We'll have an episode coming up for you tomorrow, and we'll continue to keep you up to date on the ever-unfolding injury situation for the Minnesota Wild, as we always do, right here on Locked On Wild.